I'm going to show you how to thread, just the basic threading on this 334DS Bernette. And this is actually, the DS means differential feed and self-threading. And it's kind of self-threading, if you really want to be technical. Okay, one thing that's very important that you need to know before you even start with any kind of serger is if your cones are different sizes, or if they're different shapes, like one is more narrow at the top, this is a more flatter, they're going to come off of the spool differently. So you could have some inconsistency and you think it's a tension and it's actually the thread. So try and have your thread at least on the two loopers, these two loopers, the same kind of density or amounts on the thread spool. So I'm going to just go ahead and show you that before you do anything, you're going to start with this second thread in the blue one. And these are all color coded, so you can see that this is the red, this is the blue, this is the green, this is the yellow. So I'm going to thread it up in the same colors that the dots are. So you can see at the end when I move this through what it does. Okay, I'm going to take that through. Let's see if we can get a little closer here. Okay, I'm going to take it straight through and down, and then I'm going to loop it up and around, and then I'm coming through the tension. And when I have a tension like this, I want to hold the top and the bottom, top and the end, and pull it so that I know it's in the tension disc. Here's the other thing you need to know is this door does not pull straight open. You have to push it. Hold on, let me move back a little bit. Push it to the side and then out. If you don't pull it all the way to the side, if you just pull it a little bit, it won't come all the way down. So pull it all the way over and down. Okay? And so now you're going to go through this little section here. Sorry, but I know this is a little bit hard to see. And then if you look down at the bottom, there's a little blue. I'm going to get you in closer. There's a little blue tab right there. Let me pull this up. Okay, it's right here. Okay, that means that there's also a red tab. Don't go this way straight in, go to the back. So you're going to slide the thread into that hole right there. And then you're going to go straight up, and you need to move the knife out of the way. So I'm going to push to the right and then turn the dial so that it clicks. Okay, so then I'm going into the looper. I'm sorry I don't have the light. The light burned out. So one thing about this machine, if you take the looper all the way down, lift your presser foot. Oops, don't take the looper all the way down. Take the looper all the way up. Lift your presser foot, and you can slide the presser foot out of the way. I don't know if you can see that or not. So here it is. Make sure your needle's up and slide the presser foot out of the way. hopefully you can see that. All right, so now I'm going to take this thread right here, and I'm going to move my looper down just a little bit so I can see, and I can hardly see, actually. Okay, so here's the looper right here, right there. I'm going to go through the hole and pull my thread to the back of the machine. So there's the thread. Okay, so let's back up out of here so you can see the next one. Okay, so now the next one is actually the red thread, and that one is going in sort of the same way all the way to over and loop it and come down. You see that? Go all the way in to the groove, all the way over, loop it, and come down. Okay, so now I've got my red thread. I'm going around. This is the lower looper. I'm going to go down, pull this up, make sure it's in the tension disc. All my tensions are on 5. I don't put them on 0. Okay, so now this is the one that everybody sweats over, and I'm hoping that you can see it. Open the door so we can get enough light in there to show. Okay, so here's the red. Oh, I missed a one. This blue one right here. Let's see if I can get in there close enough. Okay, there's a blue and a red right here on this. So I need to come around and put that blue one in there also. I'll pull it up from there. So the blue one goes from here to here and then up. The red one goes from here to here. So it goes in the same one. And there's the reason, one of the reasons why you thread the blue one first. Okay, so you just get a hold of the thread on both sides and slide it up into the hole. Okay, because this is open underneath here. Okay, now is the lower looper. That's the tab right there, and this is the automatic threading part, which is used to be very, very hard to do. So I'm going to make sure that it's in this, and it comes from the back to the front. So I'm going to make sure it's in this little tab right here, and then I'm going to lay it in this hook right there. Can you see that? Let's see. Hoping you can see it. Okay, so then it's right there, and then I'm going to hold on to my thread and flip it back. And now I want to close my foot so I can move my needle position, my loopers, so that my two loopers are sort of looking like they're crossing each other. And then I'm going to go in the hole. Yeah, right. All right. in the hole right there. It goes right over top of that looper and to the back. Now, when you're pulling it back and you've got all this slack on in the thread, be sure it doesn't twist on something. That's really critical, okay? Because any little thing will cause it to either the thread to break or the thread, the stitching to look weird. Okay, so now I'm going to put my knife down. So I push over with this finger and dial it down. I'm going to move you back a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to thread the green, which is my, actually that's all I've got in right now. I'll put the other one in a minute. So I am going to leave my knife up, sorry. Okay, so my green one will go through this tension disc. So again, it slides into the top like that, loop, goes down, comes around, pull up on both of them, goes in the lower part of this right here. And it goes to the back of this, goes in here, goes to the back, curls into here, oops, and then it goes into the needle. Okay, I'm going to take my needle, thread all the way through these little hooks right here, and then down through the needle. And I use this needle threader. It's fabulous for threading. And then I just pull that loop, pull it underneath to the back of the presser foot. Okay, so now I'm going to insert the second needle, which is my outside, my left needle, and oh, there it is. I need to unscrew this a little bit because I was doing, before this, I was doing a rolled hem. This little thing has a hole which can help you get it up into the position it needs to be, but be sure it is all the way up. Hold on to it with your fingers and then tighten the screw. Take this off and you will see, I believe you can see, that these two needles are in two different positions. They are two different heights. Can you see that? So be sure that those are in the right position. If it doesn't stitch, you haven't got the needle in right. Okay, so now I'm going to thread the outside needle, or the left needle, and that one is yellow. Let me back it out here. So here again, I'm going to come into the slot all the way over, loop it, and bring it into the other side. Pull it on both sides around the tension disc, so I'm up into the tension, go into the same slot right here as the green one is in, and then over to the yellow one right there. Then go to the back, and then to the front again. So there is, this one came out. Oops. Okay, so now I'm going to thread that one This is the greatest little tool, by the way. It has a little spring on it, and it also has a magnet here so you can hang it on the wire. But you have to have the thread, there's an arrow right there. You have to have the thread running parallel across, and then horizontally. And then you put your thread in like this. So when the thread is in there, then when you put it against the needle, it pushes it up into the groove, because there's a groove in the front, and it'll follow the groove. Do not force it. It will break and bend, and then you won't have one. Okay, so now I think my foot is actually slightly down. So I'm going to see if I need to, yep, tighten the foot here. Okay, so now I have it threaded. All threads are on the top, under the foot. Now, then I shut my door, and be careful with the door because this door is messed up. And then I'm going to pull this down right here. So I have to push it over to bring it down. Now, when I go to sew, I want all my tensions on 5. Then there's also a dial here. No, this isn't the length. This is the lower cutting knife. So when I move this over, I will be actually moving the knife over. This is your rolled hem tab. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is the rolled hem tab, and that actually releases the foot, the tongue in there. So when you look at the inside here, I'll make sure you know about this. This right here, I think you can see it. That right there is a tongue that holds the platform of the threads. When you're doing a roll hem, it pulls it away, and so then you don't have to change a needle plate or whatever, and that will actually roll your hem with your right needle in only. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stitch. I don't know why I'm pulling that toward me. We're going to go ahead and stitch. I'm going to push my foot back in. I want to make sure that I am on the, all my threads are above the plate when I go to start stitching. And I have, right now I have this on, I probably have this on roll hem. Longer stitch length, and okay, so now let me show you what's what here. Okay, this is the top side right here. This is the blue thread or upper looper. This is the red thread, the lower looper. And this right here, I started out with that platform on there. I had the rolled hem pulled, so the platform was not there. And so then there's the yellow thread, which is the actually seaming thread, and this is your safety stitch. So this is the green one. Okay, so now, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so now what I want you to just know, a couple of things. First of all, if it's buckling just a little bit, which this is, there's too much fabric underneath. So that means that the knife table is a little bit too far over, so it's leaving too much over here on the side. So when I move this, maybe you can see if I can get you closer in. Okay, so here's where your knife is right there. And if I'm moving the dial, do you see the knife move over and then toward the edge, toward the body of the housing there? So I may, if it's buckling, it may not be your tension. It may be that you have too much fabric underneath that's leaving the fabric underneath, so that it's buckling it. Okay, so now I'm going to take another little swig at this. Press your foot down, because I moved that down. Now, in my opinion, that is perfect. These are right on the edge. Whoops, they're right on the edge there. So now the only other thing is that might happen is it may be looping on the edge, and that's actually looping because there isn't enough fabric underneath. Now, if it's starting to pull from the top, let me show you what that looks like. So this looks okay on the top side, but if you look at what's going on the back side, do you see the little tiny loops it's making with the thread? Actually the bottom thread looper is tight because I tightened it. So that's what it looks like. So if you just experiment back and forth to see with these colors of thread to see which looper does what, then it'll help you. You'll understand what you need to look for. Okay, let's say you have to rethread, and turn it this way a little bit more. So you're rethreading and you get ready to start again, and your lower looper breaks. And every time you do it, your lower looper breaks, every time you thread it. What is happening is, and you can see this because I'm opening this up, do you see your two needle threads are below the stitch plate? If you will just pull those to the top and make sure that all the threads are clear from the plate and start again, you will not have to rethread the entire machine. I don't know, I think people told people that in order to not go through the detail of why. And this is what happens. So if your thread is breaking all the time down here, it's because your needles didn't get cleared from the plate. And they're down below and they're making a loop. And every time you stitch, it will break. So please just do that, and you won't have to thread the machine from the beginning to the end just like I was doing, because that's what people would call, and the dealer would say, take all the thread out and start over. And this is the reason why it breaks. This thread, it'll pop it every time. Okay, that's it. Good luck.